What's up, guys? So I was telling you guys in the last video that I found this motherboard at Crazy Bins Amazon return store. So I got the motherboard for 10 bucks and the CPU for 5 bucks. Coolers just off Amazon for cheap. So I managed to go on Kijiji and I found a GTX 1660 Super. So in this video we're going to build a mining frame. It'll be more of a mini mining frame, and I'm going to try and run somewhat power efficient GPUs on here. So I'm going to try and get a bunch of 1660s, Supers, 1660 Ti's, and we also got this monitor off Amazon, HDMI monitor. So I'll hook this up with the mining rig and just have pretty much like a mini setup, a mini miner. Alright, so we're going to be building this out of aluminum 1/16 by 3/4, 6 feet of it. So I have 3 pieces of 6 foot long lengths. I have my spare power supplies and my spare motherboard that's no good. This is the same size as what's going in there with a mini motherboard, and I'll get it ready for 2 power supplies, even though I'll only be running 1 for now. So what we'll do is I started off by just taking the aluminum and seeing how long I needed it. So if I make it about 18 inches, it should be about there. And 7 inches high is just high enough above this that if I have to take this out, I can still slide it up and pull it out. So we'll do 18, 18, 7, 7, and then 7, 7, 18, and then once we're done that, we can set the graphics card onto its resting place, and then see exactly where this back piece has to go for the mount. So I've came up with these measurements. We need, for the bottom, 18, 18, 7, 7, and for the side, 7, 7, 18, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I got all my pieces cut, and they're just sitting in place. So what I need to do now is, in each corner, is drill a hole and put a bolt. A good trick to make sure everything's square while you're doing it is just grab, usually just a chunk of 2x4 or something works good, but a piece of wood, and then when you're doing your lap, just hold them together, and you know that they're perfectly square on the edge of the wood, and then you can just drill your hole, and then you know everything's perfect. So I'm going to drill all my holes for this part and bolt everything together, and then we'll measure out how high this back mount has to go and mount that. Alright guys, so I drilled out all the corners and I put little bolts in and just semi-tighten them. So now I can keep this graphics card up here, and I just have to measure from the bottom up to this mount and see how high it is, and then make one more 18-inch top bar, and then this can all be mounted, and then we can mount the motherboard. I did shorten these sides to 6.75 inches just because it was a little wider, which was allowing this back piece to slip off. So then I would have had to add angle brackets to support this, and if you're doing 2 power supplies, we would have needed 1 here, 1 for the other one, and 1 for the other side. So this way, just shortening it up just made less material, and this thing will just sit in place. So we'll get the other bar on the back all built, and then we'll move on to the motherboard. Alright, so I got the main support on now. This is 11 3/8 tall by 18 by 11 3/8. So everything lines up good now, and the card should rest pretty well. So I've cut 6.75 inch long supports, and I'll just install them right here. Just drill a hole here, and bolt that to the left, bolt one to the right, and going from there. Alright guys, so I got the sides all bolted up. I added one little spare piece of support for my power supply, and I actually ended up having another spare old computer, so I just cut this piece out and then made it to the same size as the motherboard. And then I just bolted it on with a bolt here, and all my bolts on the bottom of this come through just as kind of like little feet. And then for the motherboard mount, I doubled it up so there's little legs that kind of sit against here. And then if you can see, there's also some foam under there just so it doesn't rattle. And I also drilled 2 holes in the side here, and just above the power supply I can mount my SSD to the side like this. So I'll cut to a time lapse and we'll throw this thing together with proper parts. We got it all put together, so now all I have to do is connect it to the internet and make sure it's all working. I'm going to be using this Amazon mini screen that I got. So it's like a backup camera, but it's an HD screen. It's made by Aki. So anyways, it's got this, so it's a 7-inch screen. It comes with a little mount. HDMI cords, no power cable, audio video, and a power switch for if you put it in a car, and dash mount, HDMI to mini, and a remote. So I'm gonna connect this and just have this as like a mini monitor along with the miner, and then that way I can just keep the 3060 hooked up. So we'll try this monitor out, we'll hook all this up, and we'll see if we can get it hashing. Alright guys, I got this thing mining. It's at about 66, 67 mega hash with the 3060 and the GTX 1660 Super. Testing the screen out, it actually works pretty good, so it's nice and clear. It's at 1080 right now. I might put it to 720 just to make it a little bit bigger. This little screen actually, surprisingly, even has speakers on it. So they're not like the best speakers, but I was pretty surprised. So not bad. So I'll try and find a couple more cards and see if I can find some 1660 Ti's or Supers to fill this thing up, and maybe put this RTX into my gaming rig and just have this as a power efficient little rig using this mini monitor and 1660s. But with the market, we'll see. I'm pretty much taking what I can get, but that's what we're aiming for. So anyways, I'll throw up a little sheet just to show all the sizes of pieces of aluminum I used, and you guys can pause it if you want to take some measurements. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, I cut out my main base all the way around, and I cut out those pieces.